Yes, 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 and good morning. I see a good morning from West Palm Beach, a good morning from Clearwater. The people, you guys are watching and listening. You're riding with the king, the Howard Eskin Show on. We are live Saturday morning. You may watch this at another time, but when we're doing it, it is live on Saturday morning. Good morning. Obviously, uh, there's a few topics to talk about, but the main one is the Eagles. They finally got a high school team to play. So I will say this. I will say this, and before I say anything, I want to thank our presenting sponsor, Stillwell Financial Advisors, and Jeff Stillwell, who knows his stuff. And he knows that 1, 2, 3 is 3 straight losses. He knows his numbers. He knows that the Eagles are 4-5 in their last 9 games. But more importantly than anything else, he knows what's going on in the financial world right now, and it is an ever-changing world, and he's there to help anybody that wants his advice and wants his assistance, and wants what he can do really well. Jeff Stillwell, 732-343-0843. All right. I will say, if the Eagles don't win on Sunday, and I don't think there's like less than 1% of 1% of 1% that they don't win on Sunday. If they don't win on Sunday, they ought to cancel the rest of the season. Uh, they ought to cancel the rest of the season because it's just this team is worse than stinks. They have won the Oakland Raiders, the Las Vegas Raiders have won 2 games. There's no team that has won Tennessee and the Giants, 2 other teams that stink. But the Raiders, of those 3 teams, are probably the worst team. So there's no way they lose. By the way, I see there's somebody from Bear, Delaware, somebody joining in from Arizona. Arizona's 2 hours difference. So it's a little earlier out in Arizona. Stay in my lane. Good morning from Arizona. Uh, who is it from Bear, Delaware? Who is it from Bear, Delaware? Oh, uh, Ted or Todd. Todd Flavor or Todd Labor? Well, whatever, Todd. Good morning. Uh, Sometimes those letters run together. Good morning. Good morning to all. Good morning from the person from Clearwater, from the fine viewer and listener from Clearwater. I see James, DEC1 from New York City. Who's that? Uh, AI Gent from West Palm Beach, Florida. Got them from all over. Cosmo or Cosmogman, whatever you are, from Clearwater. I will say this before we get into the Eagles. I see a comment, one of the first comments. Maxi for MVP. Interesting screen name. Joel Embiid is back. 39 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists. And then he writes, he'll be in rehab the next 3 weeks, probably. And you're probably right. Joel Embiid, just remember this: a broken clock is right twice a day. So he had 5 days off. The Sixers had 5 days off. They're going to, after Sunday's game, they're going to have another 5 days off. I would suspect, I guess I would be a little surprised if he played on Sunday, but we'll talk about that later. Joel Embiid, 39 points, 12 for 23, which is for a guy 7'2". That's okay. That's not great. From the foul line, he was 13 for 18. So he had 13 points from the foul line, but he missed 5 shots, and he was 2 for 8 from 3. Keeps on taking threes. He's never going to stop doing that because he just wants those points. That's not where he should play. South Philly's in the house. That's not where he should play, but we'll get into that. We'll get into that later. He still played half the games. And if he plays on Sunday, and I suspect that he won't, he'll have another week off before he plays another game. It's just it's ridiculous. All right, let's get into the Eagles. Eagles got to beat the Raiders, right? But what's interesting, and I'm going to ask Marc Lawrence about this when he's on. The total, the over under on the game is only 38 and a half. 38 and a half. That means they're begging you to take the over. They're begging you to take the over. And I'm not sure. I'm not taking. I would never take the under. I take the under or don't play it at all. I would take the under or don't play the total at all. If the Eagles don't score more than 24 points, and the only way I think they get over 24 is they get some turnovers. If they don't score more than 24 points in this game, there are issues. All right, there's been a lot of talk for good reason, uh, especially with the last two guests we've had on the last couple of weeks. Kurt Warner talking about quarterbacks, Chris Sims on Wednesday night talking about quarterbacks, and you Eagles fans can be flat out morons, dopes, and dopes, and dopes, and if there's a level above, they could be a level above. Uh, a level above. Because to go after Chris Sims, well, he wasn't a successful quarterback in the NFL. He still played in the NFL, but that's not even the point. And then some jerk, I was going to say, I was going to say, some Jo writes that, well, Chris Sims, when has he been in a Super Bowl? All right, so I'll ask this question for the morons, the moron that brought up that point. Would you rather have, when they were playing, Dan Marino or Jalen Hurts? Well, obviously, I mean, the answer is simple. You'd rather have Dan Marino. Dan Marino's never won a Super Bowl. So the guy says, well, what Super Bowl has Chris Sims won? Dan Marino never won a Super Bowl. He was only in one. Would you take Dan Marino over Jalen Hurts? Sure, you would. So to make that comment, that shows you how moronic some Eagles fans can be. Complete, absolute losers. Those people are losers. That's not. He knows what he's talking about. So, and the Eagles are playing the Raiders. Kenny Gloves Pickett is the starting quarterback for the Raiders on Sunday. I mean, it's just it's unbelievable. See a comment here. The Obear 45, young and dumb generation celebrating mediocrity. Well, the reality is Jalen Hurts is a good quarterback. We know that. He's not a great quarterback. He's a good quarterback, but he's not played well enough to even be considered. And I remember all the people, oh, he's top 5. Oh, he should be in the MVP conversation. No, to both of those. And I think it's been pointed out by Chris Sims, the reason that, well, the people blame the offensive coordinator. And that's ridiculous too. There, you talk about the creativity, but there's only a certain amount of plays that Jalen Hurts can and will run. And that was pointed out by Chris Simpson. That's correct. That's accurate. The playbook is limited just to try to help Jalen Hurts run the plays that he feels comfortable and he knows more of. And that's why the offense is predictable. But it's just people are still climbing on. Oh, this the Jalen Hurts and the Eagles. So I have a couple of questions. Are the Eagles a Super Bowl team right now? Are they a Super Bowl team? Is Jalen Hurts good enough? And I know the answers to both, but are people sharp enough to know? You know, it's not the playbook; it's the play sheet. I don't know what you mean by that in the comment here. it is a limited play sheet because that's what Jalen Hurts uh, is. That's what he's comfortable with, and I see the Eagles are having. He's under an extreme pass rush. No, he's not. No, he's not. He's not under an extreme pass rush because they move away from the running game. They've stopped the running game, and the other teams. Chris Sims made a comment on the show the other night. He says he's talked to defensive coordinators around the league, and what they want is they want Jalen Hurts to play quarterback. Uh, uh, they want Jalen Hurts to play quarterback. So they've defended against the run. The offensive line isn't as good, and they've defended against the run, and they're forcing him to pass and say, "Go ahead, go ahead, throw the ball." That's what teams are trying to do. It's not the offensive coordinator. The offensive line's not as good. Saquon Barkley's not going to be as successful this year. Um, RG 7236 says Eagles are on the verge of becoming the Sixers. I don't think they'll get to that point because they still have some really good players. But the Eagles go into the game without Jalen Carter. I think he's going to miss a few games. His agent gets involved, and they want to sign a new contract, and they don't want him to get hurt any worse. And I don't think it's a serious injury. If they were in the mix, they would tell him you got to play. I mean, if they were in the possibility of losing the division, and they're going to be first in the division. I mean, losing me, not being first. They're going to win the division. Lane Johnson, that injury, I would be surprised if he comes back before the end of the season because you just, especially, it's not must wins. That Liz Frank injury is a really, really, especially for a big guy, that's a tough injury. That's really a tough injury. So he's not going to play either. Uh, I got to jump on. I got to jump on the local TV sports in Philadelphia. In many cases, is embarrassing. It's embarrassing. It's like they don't know what to say. They try to be cute. All these different things. There was, and I'm not going to say which channel because I rarely watch local news. Rarely, because they don't really give you that much. There's no energy. There's no emotion. There's no. It's just there's no personality. It is what it is. But the sports, weak in most cases. Here was two comments. Okay, so here are two comments. The reporter goes on. Of course, they got to put put him or her in front of the link when there's nothing in the link because that's television. First words out of the reporter's mouth were, "It's now or never for the Eagles." Does that reporter know what never means? Now or never? If they lost the game, it would be awful. But they're still going to finish first in the division. They play another backup quarterback, most likely next week against Washington. What a stupid, ridiculous, I got nothing to say comment. I got nothing to say. Now or never for the Eagles. It's not now or never. Never's a long time, by the way, just to remind that reporter. And then during the report, the sports usually comes on after the weather. So the forecast is snow overnight, should stop by 5:00 in the morning. And the reporter says, the Raiders play in a dome. I don't know if the reporter said a dome stadium, but the Raiders are coming in, not used to this weather. It's going to be cold. But it may be a snow game. You're coming out of the weather. And the weather people have already said it's going to end around 5:00 in the morning, like 1 to 3 inches. I'm telling you, I can't. It's almost, that's why I can't until local television does something to improve the news. I can't watch it. I can't watch it. I can't watch it. Yeah. So it's just ridiculous. All right. Let me talk it now that I've done that and obliterated a few different things. But the Eagles will win. So we'll talk about it and we'll get to you and then we'll get to Marc Lawrence. But right now, I want to tell you about some other fine people that are part of the show. And one is Audi Westchester. Audi Westchesters were rolling through December. There's a snowman that, it's going to be a little snow, but we're not going to get much. But at Audi Westchester, great selection, number one, but great deals. The all new remodeled 2025 A5, 1.99% financing up to 72 months in the month of December. These are December incentives. The all new remodeled 2025 Q5 SUV, 1.99% financing up to 72 months. Hey, you go to Audi Westchester. Really great people. Have fun, grab a cup of coffee, grab some snacks, grab something to drink. 1421 Wilmington Pike. Great deals, great selection, great people. What more can you ask for? Audi Westchester. That's AudiWestchester.com. And Piazza Property Pros. They do so many things to make your property look better. Not just the backyard, but they do the front yard too. They'll fix that up. Piazza Property Pros with 25 years of experience can make the front of your house look as good as the back of your home. Whether it's a pool, you got to think about that if you're going to do it. Whether it's pool maintenance, landscaping, hardscaping, fencing, excavation, Piazza Property Pros can do it all and do it well. They don't subcontract, which is really, really important. Here's the number 610 566 2608. Schedule an appointment, a consultation today, free consultation. Not everybody does that. To learn more, check them all out at their website, Piazza. You won't be disappointed. PiazzaOutdoor.com. All right. Let's take a call before we go to Marc Lawrence. George, I guess he's back in town. George, are you back in town?
I'm back in town, Howard. I'm cold. I don't want snow.
Will you steady that damn phone?
Sorry, Howard. My bad.
It is your bad. Hey, steady it, damn it.
Damn it. There you go.
Is this hard for you, George?
Yeah, you're good. I've got you on the iPad. I'm testing something out, so I apologize.
Oh, gee, thanks. Thanks for using it as a test pattern.
Hey, I went into your show the other night with an open mind because I'm one of those guys that was not a Chris Sims fan, but I looked at it this way. He played the position, and he's been saying the same stuff for 3 years. And now you've got the local sportscasters on these wonderful sports talk shows, which I'm a fan of, but not as much as when you were on, jumping on Chris Sims' bandwagon, who has been saying it for 3 years. Do you see the Eagles maybe drafting a QB in 2026?
I think they've got to look at something in the offseason, something at the quarterback position. Will they draft a QB? I don't think they're going to go into the draft looking for a quarterback, but let's put it this way. I think they'll go into the draft keeping their eyes open for a quarterback. So I don't think they'll take a quarterback in the first two. Well, they're not going to take him in the first round, but I don't think they'll take a quarterback in the first 2 rounds. But usually every year they try to take a quarterback. So yes, I think they will take a quarterback. Now, can you make a trade? I don't know. If the Eagles would try to trade Jalen Hurts, and I'm not saying they will, but if they would try, teams would know that there's something wrong. Why are you trading Jalen Hurts? So what would you get for him? Is somebody try? Is another team going to try to resurrect him? So I don't. A trade would be difficult, but I think they will. And obviously they'll think about Tanner McKee because they do have a quarterback that I think at some point. They're going to check in camp. They know what Tanner McKee can do. So I don't know, but they will look at let's put it this way. I believe they will look at the position in the offseason for sure.
I'm a fan. I'm a fan of Jalen. And from listening to you, and you won't really say anything, but I try to read between the lines. When you say limited playbook, is he incapable of comprehending the playbook? He doesn't
I
want to
think
use
they
certain
want to
plays in the
keep it.
playbook.
I think they want to keep it to the plays that he likes, and that he feels comfortable with more than those, and that limits the playbook. That limits the playbook.
Have
So
defenses figured him out? Because I listened to the other night one of the former Eagle wide receivers, and he said, "I'm looking at tape here, and Jalen should be able to read some of these defensive players that are keying on his eyes." Because it's obvious, it sounds like he keys on his main receiver and doesn't focus around the rest of the field, and there are players open. But he also says he has to take advantage of watching defensive tendencies, because defensive players, the defensive backs, do certain things too that you got to read. Is he having issues watching tape?
Well, I think. Well, I don't know about watching tape, but in the last two guests we've had, Kurt Warner and Chris Sims, they both pointed out his deficiencies of looking downfield. And Chris Sims made a comment the other night that once he doesn't find his or is comfortable with his first read, he looks to run a lot of times. It looks to escape out of the pocket. And then when he does that, I don't know if he's looking, he obviously looks to run, but he looks to escape out of the pocket. When he does that, rather than sit back there, he doesn't keep his eyes down the field. And, these guys watch tape. It's not like they're saying something just, out of their rear end. They watch tape and they see what goes on. They see what he can do. Once he gets out of the pocket, he limits himself. Unlike like Patrick Mahomes, it's unfair to compare him to Patrick Mahomes, who didn't have a good game last night, but when he scrambles out of the pocket, he's always looking downfield. The good quarterbacks that scramble out of the pocket and they're out of the pocket, they're still looking downfield.
Right.
They have that vision everywhere. So, I mean, he's got some challenges. There's no question. He's not a great quarterback. And I think people should understand that and not be mad at me, not be mad at Kurt Warner, not be mad at Chris Sims. There's other people that say that. Troy Aikman, I don't think is a fan of Jalen Hurts. He hasn't come out and said it during a game, but he points out some deficiencies when he doesn't. He doesn't do many of his games. So there's some challenges there. There certainly are some challenges there.
So when you have fans saying, well, Chris Sims never made a Super Bowl, that's just stupid. I came in with your show the other night and listened to him because he's played the position. His dad was a Super Bowl winner, and the kid has played. He's played the game at the big level.
People, those Eagles fans are idiots, and they're stupid. You can't teach stupid. You can't help stupid because they're stupid. And so they just don't understand. You don't. Hey, listen, you may have your opinion about different players, and that's fine. But don't criticize somebody that really knows more than you do. And he knows more than any fan out there. He knows more than any fan.
I agree. I agree.
So does Kurt Warner.
That's how I went into it. I mean, I wasn't a fan of his, but I sat there and listened. I'm like, wow, he does know his stuff.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Hey, George, you have a great weekend and have a Merry Christmas.
You too.
All right. Take care. All right. It's just, there's some challenges there. There are some challenges. All right. Let's take a look at the weekend football. There's only one college football game, but there's a pro card, and we'll take a look ahead at the college bowl game. And to do that, we have Marc Lawrence. Mark, how are you this morning?
I'm just terrific, Howard. How are you doing?
Oh, just another day in paradise here, Mark. It's just
Great.
Eagles fans are happy. They're happy with what Chris Sims says. They're happy with what Kurt Warner says. They're all just it's a fun place here in Philadelphia. 3 straight losses, 4-5 in their last 9 games. What could they be unhappy about?
The weather, Howard. The weather.
That's a good point. It's really kind of a joke. And then these people, I see, there's comments here. Stop hating on Chris Sims as a comment from Patty H. You can't hate on a guy that knows more than the fans know. You can't hate on him. It's just the offense. And Mark, like before we get into the college bowl preview and the pro games, the Eagles for the first time in how many weeks finally out yarded the other team in a game.
Well, it's been, they out-yarded Green Bay when they came back off the bye, and the only other time they out-yarded somebody was the week before the bye. Everything else, they've been dominated on the field in the stats. So they finally win the stats, but yet they're still on a 3-game losing streak. Oof.
Yeah, they won the stats, but they lost the game.
Yeah,
Um,
but they're on a 3-game losing streak, I should say. Yes, they won the stats,
yeah,
but are on
right.
a
You did say
3-game
that.
losing
Yeah.
streak. Exactly.
Yeah, so there's something not right with the offense. Obviously, they're not going to be able to run the game. They don't have a running game right now because the other teams are stopping it, and the offensive line isn't as good, and that's part of the issues. All right, before we get to the pros and a look at the Eagles game and some questions about that, there's only one college game. Uh, they always have only the Army Navy game on one day because they have the Heisman Award, so they want to make a big deal out of that. The Heisman. I guess the guy from Indiana is probably going to be the winner. The quarterback from Indiana. The guy from Vanderbilt's had a hell of a year, but Indiana's the number one ranked team in the country. So, but the one game, service game, are there any trends that you look at when the two service teams play each other?
Well, revenge is an often overused word in handicapping for sure, but it works real well in military games. When one military team beats another military team, they come back with vengeance in their eye in the rematch, and that's what Army will be doing against Navy here today. Navy beat them up pretty good last year. Army's also going to a bowl, like as is Navy this year, but the dog in the series when they have the revenge has been an ideal play, and I think it'll be the situation here again today. Navy started out the season real strong, 7-0 to begin the season. Now they're coming back to earth, if you will, back to playing down the level. And this is an Army football team, and Jeff Monken that is really well coached when it comes to being able to avenge losses, and that's exactly the case today. I think Army maybe even pulls the rug out of Navy today because they're going to come harder in this game than will Navy.
Okay, when you look at bowl games, and this week, I guess there's a few games before we come on next Saturday. There's a few games. When you look at bowl games, what do you look at for these teams?
Well, the first thing I'm going to look at is number one, how excited a team is to be in the bowl game that they arrived at. Is it something that was beyond expectation? They're thrilled to be there because when they are, they'll really come and play that way, and they oftentimes bring back success, at least to the point spread to cashing a ticket. Then you play again. Look at the teams that are disappointed that fell down to a bowl game that they had bigger aspirations in being in. They're really difficult to get these teams motivated for. And then finally, there's a third group of a team that might be what you would call pissed off. Just the fact that, hey, we're in this game. Why are we here? What happened to us? And this isn't fair. So breaking it down and looking at the first group of teams that are excited to be there, I would have to put in that category. I would say number one, Tulane, a football team that one is excited because they made the football playoff. Number two, they're excited to get a crack at a rematch against Mississippi, who beat the snot out of them the first time they played. They beat them by over 40 points. So you got a really excited Tulane football team here. I think they can take advantage of Lane Kiffin leaving and their head coach John Summerall staying. I think this is an ideal handicap here.
So Tulane would be one of those teams
Yes,
that you would look
I
at in
think
that
they would be
situation.
highly excited. Yes.
All right,
Go ahead.
there's another game before we're on next Saturday. I can't believe they have Alabama and Oklahoma in, in a game before you get to next weekend, but it's a Friday night game. It's a college
Yes.
football is making a big deal out of Friday night. I'm not a big fan of Oklahoma. I don't know that I love Alabama, but Alabama, people have been criticizing Alabama in some cases for getting in. Because of that, do they have something to prove?
I think I put them in the excited group here, Howard. Yeah, I know they've been there, done that, but they're the first 3-loss team to ever make the college football playoff. They'll want to dismiss all that bad PR in that sense. And the fact that they did make the college football playoff, I think is a big, big testimony to this football team here. They're going to come with everything they've got. And Oklahoma's taken them out each of the last 2 times they played them. So you're going to get this big, excited effort, I think, from Alabama as well in that contest.
You know what? I just looked at the line, and I'm trying to remember what I saw yesterday. Did I see in the Tulane game? Did I see that Ole Miss was like a 21 or 21 and a half point favorite, and now all of a sudden it's 17 and a half? Did I see? Did that drop actually happen?
I don't know if they were ever that high. Maybe they were. I don't recall, but they are what you said right now, 16, 17-point dogs, which is plenty enough for me. Again, I don't handicap the odds maker. I handicap the lines that they put out. And am I satisfied with Tulane plus 16 or 17? Absolutely. I don't know for sure, Howard, if that game fell that much. And if it
It
did,
may not have been. Maybe I was looking at the James Madison, Oregon game.
it could be that game. You're right.
Yeah,
And that game was 2021, exactly.
it's just. I mean, some of these early games, like you're right. Are teams excited about playing that early? They want to play on New Year's Day. They want to play in the national championship. It's just who knows? Is there one team that people don't even think about that you would see a a reason to like that side?
Well, aside from these teams that you like or that are excited here, a game that I like from a handicap standpoint, and there's a lot of good games in this college bowl card. Usually there aren't, and the things you have to separate and get through are the coaches going to be there? Are all the players going to stay for these bowl games? All that ridiculous garbage argument, all that type of stuff. Uh, I'm going to up and down the card here, and there's a couple of games that do stand out to me. I think number one, Iowa might be a nice side to against Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt, assuming that Mendoza wins this Heisman Trophy award, which he probably is going to, that becomes an automatic play against the Heisman Trophy winner as a favorite. And you got a well-coached team in Iowa playing there against Vanderbilt. I think they can bring Vanderbilt right back to earth real quick in a football game like that. The other game that I think initially that catches my eye is James Madison. That playing Oregon, taking 21 points. Are you kidding me? This is a James Madison team that beat teams hard by more yards per game average than any team in the country this year. They beat them by 240 yards a game, did James Madison. I know they played a softer schedule, but you're giving this team 21 points. Now, there's a team that's excited to be in a bowl game as well, would be James Madison. I think they can expose Oregon in this football game here as well. So that would be the other side I was pretty excited about.
Okay. All right. All right. So now let's take a look. Let's take a look at the pros. Who do you like?
Well, I'm going to go with two small favorites. I don't usually like to do favorites, but this is the time of the year we'll make that exception. And these are guys that are coming off of losses as a favorite, so they're going to snap to attention here, I believe, pretty quickly this weekend. They're just on the outside looking in at the playoff positions here. They're number 9 and number 10 seeds, so they need these games like blood, and I believe they're going to get them. The first is Baltimore, the Ravens, playing Cincinnati this week. They just met 2 weeks ago when Cincinnati pulled the rug out on them as an 8-point underdog. And you got Baltimore sitting at the number 9 seed right now looking in. I think this is a big, big spot for Baltimore, and I think the price is right in this football game.
Yeah, they're a small favorite.
Yes,
It's on the road, but
yes.
Baltimore's got at some point they're a better team than that. But their turnovers is what I think is what killed them last week, right? With turnovers.
The turnovers killed them, but I think against a team like Cincinnati, I don't think you're going to see something to that degree. And I think their focus is more on extracting the revenge and getting themselves back in the playoff position here.
All right. So who else do you like?
The other guy is going to be Kansas City. Now, this is kind of like an old, worn, torn out tale about this Chief team.
I know it's unbelievable.
Everybody wants to keep getting back on their tail here, but I'm going to be one of those guys this week. They're going to lay 5.5. They're the number 10 seed, if you will, coming into the weekend coming in here. So they're 2 games back also. And you referred to earlier, Patrick Mahomes had a bad game last week. He had a horrible game. He hasn't had a worse game in his career. He had a 19.8 quarterback rating. And every time Patrick Mahomes has had a quarterback rating of 60 or less, he's come back and played a really, really strong football game. So we're going to put all that together, the equation here. And I think Kansas City gets the win and the cover in this game and keeps themselves battling for a playoff position.
The other thing is, I don't think the Chargers, watching that game against the Eagles last week, I don't think the Chargers are that good. Uh, the Eagles helped them out, obviously, with all those turnovers. I just don't think the Chargers are that good. They should have, with that many turnovers, they should have won by at least a touchdown.
They should have.
Yeah.
Unquestionably, they should have. It's this is not a, like you said, not that good of a Charger football team. They're going to make the playoffs,
No.
but right now, they're in Kansas City's way, and they're a division rival, and I think they can be exposed here mightily. The travel's not going to help them as well here either. So I agree with you. I think the Chargers are one of the overrated teams that are in the playoffs right now.
Okay, we've talked about one of the revenge games with Baltimore. Is there any other revenge games that you might jump on?
Well, I think revenge at this point of the season might be a little bit tad overrated just because, number one, we're getting to the finish line, and how important is it with these teams in revenge? Uh, I'm going to go up and down the card. The most important to me is the Baltimore Ravens. The one that we talked about. That's right back immediate revenge, and that's what really, really works in football games like this. And I don't know. Correct me if I'm right as far as other revenge games go. But you've got Buffalo looking for revenge against New England, but I don't think it's going to work for them this week.
Mm.
This is a New England football team that people want to diss on because they played a weak schedule, and all they are is sitting there right now as the number 2 seed in the playoffs. Buffalo's looking up at them. But New England's numbers are really, really strong, and tear Buffalo's record down their opponents. They play just almost as equally a weak a schedule of opponents as has New England. So I think you can throw the revenge factor for Buffalo right out the window in that game.
Yeah, I mean, New England Buffalo is it's a good team, but I don't think they're a Super Bowl team. There's too many flaws. There's too many flaws with that team. The fact that they're favored is just disrespect for New England and the Buffalo respect, I think, probably more than anything else, right?
Well, they're favored largely on name and reputation. Uh, you break it down statistically, they're a horrible, horrible rushing defense. And you don't lay points on the road in the National Football League with rush defenses that a team like Buffalo brings into a football game. And to have to do it against a quality team, arguably a better football team, I think is a mistake. So if New England takes points, I'll be right with them.
All right. It's almost unthinkable. Could New Orleans win 2 in a row? I'm saying no, even though they're still an underdog at home. I could never take New Orleans in this game only because they probably have to win 2 in a row. Do you like a side there?
Well, that's the key, winning 2 in a row. Right now they're probably ecstatic. They feel like they won the Super Bowl last week when they beat Tampa Bay. But the other side of the coin is you got Carolina, who's really in position right now to make some noise right now. They're the number 9 seed in the playoffs coming in here right now. They're just 2 games back. So this is a huge game for Carolina, especially given the fact that Tampa Bay lost. Carolina now is technically on top of that division, so they'd be the number 4 seed if they can maintain a first place position in the NFC South. I don't think the Saints come close in this football game.
You know what? I don't want to lay 13 and a half, but there's no way with a person that I dislike tremendously could use their money to bet on Indianapolis. There's just no way with Phillip Rivers. None. I loved him. He's a Hall of Fame quarterback. Now he's going to back up his Hall of Fame voting for another 5 years, which I think is foolish to play in 1 or 2 games. But whatever. Is it too many points, or is it just that's the side you got to take?
Well, I can't back Indianapolis here for the condition that they're in. Okay, they're really, really unraveling. We've talked all season long about how their numbers don't match their win-loss record, and it's caught up with them. Now they've got a quarterback situation that's really, really in a 9-1-1 role. 9-1-1 to the point that you've got a 44-year-old quarterback who hasn't played in 5 years that's going to play his first game for the Colts here. That's just a no-no. I don't know why they would do something like that. I know the backup, Riley Leonard from Notre Dame, has got a sore knee, so he's probably not in the best condition to start this football game. And I don't know why on God's green earth Rivers is doing this and backing his Hall of Fame thing up 5 years just for the sake of playing in a game or two. It just doesn't make any sense to me. And you got the other side. Seattle is one of the hottest teams in the NFL right now. It's not a good spot for Indianapolis this week.
Well, the thing is, if Seattle gets up, 1 or 2 scores, then it just could be a complete blowout because then Rivers is going to have to pass. And I don't think you want a quarterback that hasn't thrown a pass in 5 years to be trying to make a comeback.
It's a story all into itself, and I think I think they just caved into the pressure here. They went out and made the wrong choice. I think there were other quarterbacks that maybe they could have rounded up or brought into a football game like this. But he's a former Colt. He's been there with this team before, so obviously that he was their first call. I guess he was on speed dial for the front office.
Is there a game out there that people just, because there's so many bad games in all in all sports, is there a game out there you think is just like, why even look at this game? Is there one game that's just so bad, like why even look at it?
Well, that would have to be the Giants and the Commanders. My God, I mean, two dregs of the National Football League. I don't know how many eyeballs are going to be on that particular contest here. The Giants are favored in the game. That's how poorly Washington's played. I'd have zero interest in a football game like that. When it comes to this stage of the season, it's garbage against garbage. And I guess you take the points when it's garbage against garbage, but no interest to me in a game like that. No.
It's the worst game on the card.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So now let's take a look at the Eagles. They're laying 11.5. You can't take the Raiders. I don't care. You can't take the Raiders, but I don't know that you can even play the game because of the Eagles' offense. Your thoughts on that game?
Well, it's tough because as we began this segment here, we talked about the Eagles' play of late hasn't been what they've expected this year. And are they going to wake up here? Probably against a team like the Raiders, they can do that, just that. They haven't lost 4 games in a row under Sirianni yet. They're risking doing just that, taking the field on Sunday. And I think
there's no way they're going to lose.
No,
I mean,
no. So that's safe, just given the fact that they have an opponent. Now, I'd be more curious if Philadelphia was playing a good team this week on a 3-game losing streak and see if they could stand up to the pressures of not losing 4 in a row. But I just hope that they can at least go out and win the stats and win a game and look good, look like the football team they're supposed to be, and get themselves ready for the playoffs here. So I'm not going to play this game because of the situation, what it is. But if the Eagles don't win this football game, oh my God, I'd hate to be in Philadelphia this week.
It's just I said they should cancel the rest of the season for the Eagles if that's the case. But the total is so low, 38.5. That's disrespect, I think, to the Eagles more than it is the Raiders. Agree or disagree?
It is. And there's also a combination in play in that total that really works. And what it is you've got a high spread and a low total in a football game. And if you play the Raiders in this football game and take the points, all they have to do is score 10 points, and you can't lose 2 times in the game. The game will go over the total, and you'll be able to get there. So it's a low total, low score, high spread in the football game. That's one way to look at playing this football game. But I'm not looking for just splitting out in a play just to make it, because the worst I can do is split. So I don't know how much interest there's going to be, again, around the country of people watching this, because the Eagles are in a lot of disfavor around the country here as well right now. I know you're big time against Jalen Hurts for what he's not doing here this football season here. So maybe, just maybe, he'll end up having a good game this Sunday.
Again, I couldn't take the over. I just couldn't take the over. They're begging me to take the over. But I think the Eagles are going to score 24 points, but I don't even know if that would get you to the over.
Well, 24, if the Eagles score 24, they wouldn't be doing their job, not against the Raider football team. If they can crack 30, that's another case. And if they get to 30 points, then you can split this bet out at worst. But I'm with you. I think the odds maker knows what he's doing. He's luring people in a situation like that. And if it's so low, you end up having to play the game under. Stay what the odds maker is doing.
Well, I see a comment here, 38-10 Eagles. If the Eagles score 38, I'd be more than shocked. They'd have to have 7 turnovers to score 38 points the way that offense.
Well, the only time they did that this year, Howard, was against the Giants. That's a one and only time they scored 38.
Yeah, so. It's unbelievable. All right, if people have interest in Marc's services, 800-321-7777. And on the internet, playbooksports.com. Marc, it will be the Eagles. There's no way they're going to lose. There's no way. There's no way they're going to lose. I'm telling you, I don't want to be outside that stadium if they lose the game.
Oh, my God.
And it's going to be 20 degrees. That's the other thing. It's going to be 20 degrees. And these people are going to be, they won't even feel it anymore. So they won't even know what they're doing. They're going to drink so much. People that are tailgating are idiots because they're going to freeze their ass off anyway. It's just unbelievable. It's going to be so cold.
You're telling me there's going to be more than hot chocolate in that hot chocolate, is what you're saying?
Yeah, I think there's going to be a little more than hot chocolate.
Okay.
Mark, you have a Merry Christmas, and we'll talk to you again next week.
Howard, be well, take care, and we'll do the bowl games next week. Be
All
well.
right, thanks. Yeah, we'll do the bowl games and the pros. Can you imagine? No, I can't imagine. Why would I even say it? Can you imagine if the Eagles lost this game? uh, no, I can't. I can't imagine. I can't imagine. I just can't imagine. No, I can't imagine. So let me thank again before I see if there's anybody that wants to chime in, and I want to talk about the Phillies too. I can't believe the Phillies look like they're just going to roll back the same team from last year. Oh, but we'll talk about that. And just remember this. When I tell you a broken clock is right twice a day, people are getting excited. Joel Embiid scored 39 points last night against a bad team. They were still a close game in the fourth quarter against a bad team. And I'm going to point out something else that kind of tells you he's not, to say he's back. I mean, you're foolish. You're foolish. Let's see if he plays on Sunday, and then he's got another 5 days off if he even plays. But let me thank my presenting sponsor, Stillwell Financial Advisors, and Jeff Stillwell. I've talked about Jeff for a while, and I've talked to Jeff many times when I've told you about Jeff Stillwell and Stillwell Financial Advisors. Knows his stuff in a very, very, very crazy changing world in the economy and investments. Jeff Stillwell knows his stuff. 732-343-0813. 732-343-0813. Stillwell Financial Advisors. Yeah, I mean, Joel Embiid. I'm going to point this out, and you can talk about it if you want. Joel Embiid with his 39 points. I think, I don't know who you are, but you could probably jump higher than he does. So, and he was on the ground again in the game last night. I mean, he's always on the ground. He's always on the ground. But whatever the case may be, he only had 9 rebounds. He's 7'2". He had 9 rebounds in 31 minutes. Drummond had 9 rebounds in 16 minutes. When you're that big, you got to get rebounds. You got to get rebounds. And he had all the 3 assists. Oh my gosh, I'm going to knock myself out with his 3 assists. He didn't want to pass. He just took 23 shots. Took 23 shots, good 39. He's only 2 for 8 from 3. But just remember, a broken clock's right twice a day. All right, I'm going to get into the Phillies. And if there's anybody out there, we'll talk to you. See, somebody wants to trade Hurts for Kyler Murray. That's not going to happen. that is not going to happen. Right now, I want to tell you, first of all, before I talk about my sponsors, let me tell you the winner of our pair of Oakley sunglasses from the last show. I asked Chris Sims who he thought the best quarterback right now in the NFL is, and the answer was Josh Allen. John Zizamia. I hope I pronounced that right, John. Congratulations. You won a pair of Oakley sunglasses. Congratulations, and thanks for being a part of this show. And Josh Allen, you were selected from the answers submitted to my website, and we'll have another pair of Oakley sunglasses to give away. But I'll mention that shortly. But right now, before we get to the callers or the people that want to chime in on the show, I want to tell you about Audi Westchester. Great deals, December incentives. Audi Westchester, 1.99% financing up to 72 months. The new reconditioned A5 think I'm going to stop over there today. Stop over there, not just to grab a cup of coffee and not just to grab some snacks, but to talk to the people there, check out and see what's going on. Large inventory of very, very, very terrific automobiles. And the new 2025 A5 is remodeled, redesigned, 1.99% financing up to 72 months. And the 2025 Q5 SUV, also a remodeled edition, 1.99% financing. On these vehicles, after this, you're not going to get those finance rates again. Great people, great place, fun to stop over. 1421 Wilmington Pike, and it's a good time. And check them out at AudiWestchester.com. Also, you want to spruce up your property? Maybe you'll wait until after Christmas, but whatever you do, you can do the front part of your house and the rear. They just don't do the rear of your house and pools and all that kind of things. Piazza Property Pros with 25 years of experience can redesign the front of your home, redesign, do what you want to do to it, spruce it up, make it look great when people come to your home. They don't subcontract. 25 years of experience says a lot, whether it's excavation, pool maintenance. If you have a pool, you want to put in a pool, they can do that. Fencing, landscaping, excavation. You can trust Piazza Property Pros. Exceptional results. Give them a call, 610-566-2608. Schedule a free consultation. Not everybody schedules a free consultation. That's 610-566-2608, piazzaoutdoor.com. All right. The Phillies re-signed Kyle Schwarber, which they kind of had to do. He's the only leader in the club. He really is the only leader in the clubhouse. Too much money, but you had to do it. You had to do it. But now they're talking about they've offered a contract to JT Realmuto. You're just going to bring back the same team. I think you got to use that money somewhere else. And it's not a lot of free agents that have signed yet, but they're going to get an outfielder. But unfortunately, in my opinion, they're going to trade Alec Bohm to do it. Alec Bohm is the best contact hitter on the team, the best contact hitter on the team. They got it, but they're going to trade him probably for an outfielder. They're talking to the Angels. They're talking to Seattle as two outfielders that maybe are on the block, but I don't think Alec Bohm is going to get. I don't know that they're going to get either one of them. They're going to have to trade a minor league guy, but all the Phillies have done. Bader's not going to come back, which I'm okay with. He's been with 5 or 6 teams. Probably signed with San Francisco. No Suarez. I think he signed with the Padres. No Suarez. That's okay. He's always getting hurt anyway. But they picked up some Rule 5 pitchers and they've lost some. That's Mickey Mouse stuff that they've done during the winter. They went through the winter meetings, and that's the Mickey Mouse stuff. I see Herb. Do you think Trout will be a Philly? No, never, never. Never. Philly. Well, I don't know what the Phillies are going to do in center field. Marsh is a part-time player. Rojas is a part-time player. Crawford is not really a center fielder. He's more of a left fielder when they do bring him up. I don't know what they're going to do. That's going to make them a real World Series contender. I'm not on board with that. Do we have Joe? Do we have some people that want to join the show? All right, let's try Jim. Let's see if he's figured this out. Jim.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How you doing?
Hey, did you know, going back to Monday night, and I mean, this is pretty ridiculous. Do you know they got to the Chargers 35-yard line 7 times and then score a touchdown once? That's unbelievable.
Yeah, and they didn't get to the red zone. In the red zone, statistically, they're a good team, but I don't even buy stats. Like the Eagles put out information each week on numbers that are positive Eagles numbers. And here is a bogus stat for you. Jalen Hurts is 4th in the NFL in total touchdowns.
Oh, who cares?
Well, yeah, but there's 6 or 7 tush pushes. So what does that mean? What does that mean? Why is that a legitimate stat? That's not a legitimate stat. But I knew that they moved the football. They had more yards than the other team and still lost the game and still only scored, what was it? What they
19.
19 points. Yeah, they didn't even break 20. They only
Yeah,
scored 19 points.
here's one player that everyone loves him, but I don't know. I think you're probably gonna have to go in a different direction next year. You know, Jake Elliott is 4 for 16 the last 2 years of kicks of 48 or more.
No, I didn't know that.
Ruben Frank
Yeah,
had that.
he's not as rock solid as he was. I still like Jake Elliott, but he's
Well,
not as rock solid.
you have to make that kick before halftime. You can't miss that there.
Well, it was, what was that? The 48-yard field goal?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was right. You got to make that. You're a good field goal kicker. You're right. You got to make that. There's
And
no
you're
question.
inside. Hey, what do you think about this? Okay, so the Eagles. Forget the. First off, I thought I was watching McNabb when he couldn't find his helmet. The Eagles got the ball back with 10 seconds, 10, 11 seconds left. They had 2 timeouts. I think they had him just drop back and throw the ball out of bounds because 1, they didn't want him to get sacked, or 2, they didn't want him to turn it over. But why wouldn't you just run the ball? Given you had 2 timeouts and you had 10 seconds, why wouldn't you just try running it and getting like 4 or 5 yards or throwing a short pass?
Where were they on the field? I'm trying to remember where they were.
I mean, it was a 48-yard field goal, so they're probably around the 30. Because remember, they got the on the INT, they got the unsportsmanlike conduct on the Chargers, so that was like 15 yards.
Well, yeah, but if that's the case, then they probably didn't trust Jalen. Not run
Yeah,
the
that's
ball.
what I'm saying.
They're not going to
what I'm
run
saying.
they're not going to run the ball because if it's 43 or 48, it should be the same thing for Jake Elliott. But I don't think they trusted Jalen Hurts to get it closer. They felt it was within his range. You know, remember, you're playing in a a controlled environment. You're playing in a dome stadium, so 48 should be nothing. So you just kick it. Then there's what was there, 4 seconds left or
Yeah, there's
3
no
seconds?
time left.
Okay, and they half's over, and you go in with a field goal. You don't risk, and you don't risk anything. I mean, I have no problem. I have no
And
problem.
I guess Zach Ertz's career is over
Okay,
now.
so here's my question that I asked at the top of the show. Do you believe the Eagles are a Super Bowl team?
No, not even close.
Okay.
I don't even think they'll probably win a round because
Okay.
they're probably, if they win
There's
the
a chance
division.
the first game will be at home, but there's a
Yeah,
chance.
but the first game's going to probably be, because they're probably going to be a 3 seed with Tampa Bay falling off or Carolina and only going 9-8. So you might, depending how it all shakes out, you're either going to play Green Bay, Chicago, or maybe Detroit even gets into that 6 seed, or maybe even San Francisco. All those teams right now are better
Well,
than
if Detroit wins the division, they got to play at home.
Well, no, I'm talking
Not
about
Detroit. I mean
16.
Green Bay. If Green Bay wins the division, they got to play at home.
I'm saying all 3 of those teams are still in the division mix, so you could play any 3 of them, and you could also still play San Francisco because Seattle would get the 5 seed.
Listen, I don't care who they play.
I don't think they could beat any of them right now.
Well, whoever they play, you got to worry about it. Whoever they play, they probably will not be more than a 3 or 3.5 point favorite, in my opinion.
And you know what the disappointing thing is? I mean, they picked Nakobe Dean's one of their better players when he's healthy. They didn't think he was going to make it back from his injury, so you picked a linebacker in the first round. I mean, Nakobe Dean's going to be gone because they're going to want Jahad Campbell to play next year. And you're not going to pay a lot of money to Dean because you're already paying Bond, you know?
Well, you got to keep I think you got to keep Nakobe. See, that's part of the issue with the Eagles. They're going to have to start paying some people next year.
I just don't think they're going to pay 2 linebackers a lot of money because you're already paying Bond and you used a first round pick on Jahad Campbell, so you're stuck there.
Yeah, but they got to sign him. They got to keep him. They got to find a way to keep him.
And Zach, you would say Zach Ertz's career is probably over, right?
Well, he's going to be. That injury now puts him deep into next year because it's close to the end of the season. That's probably a 9-month injury. So
that's too bad.
Unfortunately, I think it's the end of his career, and I think he knew that when he was taken off. He obviously was crying, and he knew his season was over, and in his mind, he probably thought that this was maybe going to be the last year anyway, and his career is over. It's too
Yeah, one
bad.
last thing. I
Too
don't know.
bad you have to end on that.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw this, but this should get you going. Well, after the Sixers, and I don't even who cares about the Sixers. Jack Fritz tweeted, "This could be the Sixers' year," and then Elliott was tweeting, "Great to see Joe Embiid dominating the NBA again."
Okay. All right. Let's. And I didn't want to. I didn't want to bring up either one of them by name, but both. Jack's just trying to get people to click on his Twitter. Elliot is Captain Clickbait. Elliot to write that. Elliot Shore Parks. To write that is a complete moron. A complete moron. And the Sixers have no. Hey, listen. How about Kendrick Perkins, who kisses Joel Embiid's ass, both cheeks, not just one cheek, because he's got some big ones. He kisses both cheeks. He says they're not going to get by Detroit. They're not going to get by 7 teams. What are you talking about by Detroit? It's like this is one game. He had 5 days off. Remember the playoffs? There's no more than 2 or 3 days off between games, and it's bang, bang, bang. There's no way. There's no way. He's not back. He had 9 rebounds in 31 minutes. Drummond had 9 rebounds in 16 minutes. He can't jump. He still can't. He's not hitting threes, and that's all he wants to take right now to score the points. He's just not. He's a good player right now. Nothing special about Joel Embiid. It is absolutely moronic for those guys that you pointed out. I wasn't going to bring it up. You pointed it out. It is moronic for those dopes, and they are dopes, trying to get clicks, trying to get attention. Jack's a good guy, but Jack's an idiot when he puts some of that shit up there.
And then if the Eagles lost to the Raiders tomorrow, would you say that would be the worst home loss the Eagles have had in the last 20, 30 years?
I can't go back 20 or 30 years because there's probably been some bad ones, because in 20 or 30 years they had to have a bad team. But it will be the worst loss that I can remember in 10 years. And those people, they're going to be frigid.
Yeah, I don't even.
They're going to freeze their ass off.
I don't even think I'm going.
They're going to be wasted. Sitting there in basically 20-degree weather. They're going to be wasted, despite what a reporter on one of the local reporters on one of the TV. Oh, it could be a snow game. No, it's not going to be. I think snow's going to be over by 5 o'clock in the morning. That's just stupid. And another comment by that report: now or never. Hey, it's a terrible loss, but never's a long time.
Hey, and Pete Carroll's getting a lot of free money because he's going to get fired or quit. I guess he wouldn't quit, but he's going to get fired.
You know what? Pete Carroll's a good coach with a bad team. It's just.
Yeah, but why would he even take that job? Why would they even hire him? He was 73, 74 years old.
Well, because some guys love to coach. Dick Vermeil coached into his 70s, I think. And Dick Vermeil's a good coach. Pete Carroll's a good coach. But the reality is they're just a terrible team. They have a quarterback issue. They're a terrible. Hey, if they lose to the Raiders,
God help us.
I don't want to be in that parking lot afterwards. I do not want to be in that parking lot afterwards.
All right, I'll see you later.
All right, take care. Hey, have a Merry Christmas.
You
have
too.
a Merry Christmas. And for those people that celebrate Hanukkah, Happy Hanukkah. It's just Joel Embiid. It's just Joel Embiid. I mean, back. He had 5 days off. Back. We don't even know if he's going to play on Sunday. The Sixers have played 24 games. He's played 10 of them. He's played less than half the games. I mean, it's a complete farce, a complete joke. Joe, do we have anybody else that wants to jump on before we end this fine program? Or let's take Chris first. I'll let these guys jump on. Hey, Chris, what's happening?
Good morning, King. What's happening?
You tell me.
So, well, you're covering a lot of good stuff here. Embiid, overrated. Everybody's
he is now. He was overrated before. He was a great player, but he wasn't.
Right.
He wasn't the MVP that year. It was Jokic.
Yeah.
He'll never win a championship. I don't count the gold medal, which he does. I said 3 years ago you should have traded him, and people, laughed at me. He's not conducive to winning He's about himself, and
Yeah, he's
now he just
selfish.
he can't jump. Hey, Chris, I don't know how high you can jump, but you can jump higher than he can right now.
Well, that tells you a lot. Then if I could jump higher than him, that tells you a lot. But
But
sign me up then, Sixers. Sign me up. You know, why
okay,
not? I can
it's a
steal
joke.
money too from them, right?
It's a
So,
joke.
yeah, it's a joke. So, all the stupid talk this week about trading Hurts and doing this and that, benching them or whatever these idiots are talking
You're
about.
not going to do any of that
You
stuff.
know, oh no, it's idiotic to even think that. And to bench him in December with 4 games left, yeah, okay. You think the team has problems now? These people that say this stuff are
Okay,
just idiots.
here's the issue. People criticize Kurt Warner and Chris Sims, but they know more than the fans know,
Oh,
and
exactly.
they see issues, and there clearly are issues. Whether you want to believe them or not, there are issues. Uh, You can't. How do you only score 19 points against the Chargers? How
Oh,
do you
it's
only score
ridiculous.
19 points? I mean, it just so
Yeah,
my question earlier was, and I think I know the answer. Well, I know the answer. Are the Eagles a Super Bowl team this year?
absolutely not. I
Okay.
mean, come on now, look at it. The reality. I mean,
Okay.
these people that want to say, oh, da, 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 da. Look, I love the
Okay.
birds,
So, all
but
right. So here's the other question. Do you still believe in Hertz or no?
he's having a bad year. So yeah, I do believe in him, but he's having a bad year.
Well, without a running game,
You can't do
other
nothing.
teams have exposed him, and teams are now defending against the run, and the offensive line's not as good. And I don't know
Right.
that it'll be better next year. Cam Jurgens, I think, kind of banged up this year. He had surgery in the offseason. They
Yeah.
lost to their right guard, and now the right guard's not as good as who they lost. Lane
Right.
Johnson probably going to be out for at least a few more games, at least.
Oh yeah. He's getting
Uh,
older.
so and they're just not as good. And when teams give you a 5-man front and they say, well, you're not going to run the ball on us, and Chris Sims said he's talked to defensive coordinators, and their philosophy is we just want him to be a quarterback, which means they want him to pass. So it's not a good sign. It's not a
No,
good
he
sign.
looked like a deer in headlights. I mean, the other night. I mean, he looked confused. He looked baffled.
It looks
He
like
didn't look
a
comfortable.
deer. Looked like a deer without headlights.
Yeah,
There's no headlights, so it
yeah,
doesn't
right,
matter.
right,
So it
right. But
doesn't
yeah,
matter.
it's look the offense. We're at this point of the season where it's not going to magically get better
Yeah,
for a playoff run.
it's unbelievable. All right,
So
hey
my
Chris, you
AirPods
have
died.
and the Sixers aren't going anywhere.
No,
People that
no,
think that they
absolutely
don't.
not. They're the same old, same old. And the
They're,
Phillies, I guess they're going to run it
no,
back.
Phillies are bring back if they bring and they're going to basically bring back the same team with a couple of little tweaks to it. They're
Oh
not a
yeah,
World Series team. They're not a. I
same
don't
old,
care
same
how many
old.
games. I don't care how many games they win in the regular season. They're not a playoff team.
Oh yeah,
Chris,
yeah. They'll get
you have a Merry Christmas.
you too, Howard, and take care. And I'll talk to you again.
Okay, thanks for jumping on the show. All right, this will be the last one, and for good reason. It's the last one because he's a loser, and that would be Cowboy Jim. All right, I'm going to let you on just because I have a good heart, and 'tis the season to be jolly.
Oh,
All right.
you started it off with what I've been saying my whole life. Eagle fans are dopes, morons, and idiots.
Yeah, but you say it
Thank
for the wrong reason.
There's
I'm saying it
music to
because
my
they
ears.
criticize two guys
The
that know what they're
the
talking about.
whining, and the boo hoo hoo
Well, wait
going
a minute.
on. Oh my God!
Stop right there. Cowboys fans are the biggest whiners. That's why you're cockroaches. When you stink, you're never nowhere to be found. Now you crawl out of the muck and grime because you think they're better, and they are better, but they're not even going to make the playoffs. They're not
Well,
going to make the playoffs.
we would we would have to win the next 4 in a row, and we need help. We would need help, and
Well,
and
you
the way
need
we
help anyway because anybody that's a Cowboys fan needs help.
Hey, hey moron, did you even acknowledge Marc Lawrence with the whole Duke winning last week where he's like, Duke doesn't belong to be, it shouldn't be there, and Duke is terrible.
Well,
And Duke is, by
but
the
the
way, they
bottom line
won.
is, they did win. They shouldn't be there with 5 losses. But Duke, Duke has been out yarded almost every game, and he looks at numbers and he's got trends and he does a good. He's not a Duke fan. That's one game. You are. You know how many people have put up you're a clown on the
And
on
hey,
the chat here. You're a clown. You're a
Philip,
clown.
Philip Rivers is the NFL quarterback pool that bad that they got to bring out
At this
old
time,
man
well,
Rivers?
sure it is. This time, who are you going to get at this time of the year?
Well,
You're not
listen,
allowed to make a trade. Anybody that's been cut's not good enough anyway. He probably knows the offense a little bit, even though
yeah,
he's not
right.
played
Sure.
under. But he's done. I think it's a shame that to play 1 or 2 games, he's going to push back his Hall of Fame eligibility to be voted
Well,
in 5 years.
he's
And
just thinking about the 13 kids that he has. He'll take the money. He'll take it any way he can get.
No, he's got plenty of money.
And you know what else is morons? Philly fans are morons for spending all that, getting Kyle Schwarber and paying all that money to go.
They had
to
a sign.
Phillies
He's the only leader in the clubhouse.
Oh,
he's
great!
The only
Yeah,
leader.
that's great. Go
Hey,
spend
let me
$30
just
on
break
crap
the
fries
news. Let me just break the news to you.
and an $18 beer.
You're gonna, and that's disgraceful. You're gonna have to go through the rest of the season knowing, and the Cowboys are going to win on Sunday against Minnesota, but you're going to have to go through the rest of the season knowing the Cowboys are not going to make the playoffs.
Sure, they are. Yes, they are.
Okay.
Yeah,
Hey,
I'm going on vacation because I don't want to see the city burn after Sunday.
Well,
So,
okay. Well, I will do this just because I'm a nice guy. Merry Christmas.
you,
Merry
Christmas, Howard.
Merry Christmas, you dope.
See you
Get
later,
out of here.
bozo.
Get out of here. Get out of here. All right. So, our question, to win a pair of Oakley sunglasses, and if you get them, and if you get your address to me in enough time, I'll try to get them out to you before Christmas. If you want to re-gift it and give it to somebody for Christmas. All right. So what you got to do is go to howardeskin.com by midnight on Tuesday, December 16th. Our next show is Wednesday, December 17th. And on that show, I will announce a winner selected at random from the correct entries on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. I suggest that I know on Twitter, if you want to be notified with my alerts, it will come up. I'm not sure how it works on Facebook, but you can get it on Facebook. But if you subscribe to YouTube, what it does immediately, and I know I've seen it, it notifies you as soon as we go on live, and it's easy to find all the shows. So here is my question. Marc Lawrence, the worst game on the card. What did he think was the worst game on the card in the pro games this Sunday? The worst game on the card. And if you answer that correctly, submit it to my website, and there'll be, I'm sure, more than a few correct entries. You'll be selected at random to win a pair of Oakley sunglasses. So, and by the way, I got a pickup for today. And if you want to go, so you don't even have to make a donation. If you want to make a donation to Brandywine Valley SPCA or Providence Animal Center, you can do it at any time, not today, and because the ability is not there today. But you can find out where to send a donation, and we'll be happy to take that, and they'll be happy to take the donation. So check out my picks. A pick is one game today, and it's one game. And then the pro games, I'll have the pro games for Sunday. Everybody have a very actually, Christmas has not come. I'm a week ahead of myself. I'm thinking Christmas is next week. Have a happy holiday season. All right. Have a happy holiday season. Thanks to Joe Gangemi on the other side for taking care of all the technical stuff. Thanks to Tony Anastasia for taking care of all the graphics and the website stuff. Great job there too. And thanks to you for joining the show. And you're riding. Thanks for riding with the king on the Howard Eskin Show. Let me see. Do I have anything else? No, I think I covered it all. And thank you for joining. Have a great weekend.